The engine room was a furnace of tension and failure. 6 hours into a dead stall mid-ocean, and the nuclear-powered carrier, the pride of the fleet, was drifting like a wounded animal. Technicians barked codes. Officers snapped orders. No one had answers. Steam hissed from fractured valves. Lights flickered low. The metallic groan beneath the deck was no longer a warning. It was a countdown. Then someone pointed, frowning. Why is she still down here? In the corner, barely visible, beneath the blinking red alert, stood a woman in plain gray civvies. No rank, no badge, no stripes, just a clipboard, calloused hands, and the kind of stillness that made everyone uncomfortable. She hadn't spoken once. She hadn't left since the first alert, and no one had asked her to. They thought she was a contractor, paperwork. Maybe. No one cared. Not until every certified engineer had failed. Not until the last diagnostics officer walked away, shaking his head. That's when the admiral arrived. His voice echoed cold through the metal chamber. If we don't get propulsion in 30 minutes, he said, we lose maneuver control. We'll drift into enemy sonar range. Silence followed. Not a hopeful silence, the helpless one. And in that silence, the woman stepped forward. She didn't ask. She didn't explain. She removed her outer jacket and knelt beside the failed main converter like she had touched this exact engine before. Years ago, some scoffed. One lieutenant muttered under his breath, we've brought in top brass from 4 ships, and they're letting her play with million-dollar hardware. Nobody stopped her. No one dared. Not because they respected her, but because they had nothing left. She reached into her tool pouch. Hands steady, movements precise, as if every bolt she touched held a memory, a code, a rhythm she never forgot. That engine had a soul, and she had known it once. 15 years ago, Chief Petty Officer Emily Kerrigan had walked away from the Navy in silence. She didn't throw a ceremony, didn't wear her medals. Her final salute had been to a flag folded at a funeral, the day her fiancé died in a mission gone dark. He was the only man who understood her obsession with machines that breathed, engines that had heartbeats. She stopped talking that day and never really started again. Since then, she had worked quietly behind the scenes, consulting, repairing, updating manuals no one read. But when this carrier went into emergency retrofit 3 months ago, someone from her past had pulled her back in. Not with promises, just with one line. The old girl's still breathing. She might need you. And now here she was. In the underbelly of a sinking beast that a crowd had formed around her. Not close, no one dared, but enough to witness something they didn't understand. Her fingers traced a wiring path that wasn't in the manual. She bypassed a fail-safe protocol no one else touched. She twisted 2 connection fibers, locked. A sequence, then whispered something no one heard. There was a soft click. A vibration. Then, movement. The engine came alive. Lights surged. Systems blinked green. The carrier, which had sat paralyzed for nearly 8 hours, roared softly under their feet like a sleeping giant waking up. Gasps filled the room. Someone stepped back, eyes wide. The admiral looked like he had seen a ghost. Emily stood slowly, wiped her hands on a rag, and without a word, she began to walk out. But this time, every head turned. Not one person blocked her path. The lieutenant lowered his gaze as she passed. Another whispered, almost reverently, she wasn't fixing a machine. She was waking up an old friend. Later that evening, when the official log was written, there was no name listed under Final Repair Initiative. Just one line. Civilian consultant restored propulsion function at 1800 hours. Method undocumented. Success rate absolute. They never knew her story, but they remembered her silence. Not the kind that hides, the kind that builds, that waits, that remembers, and that, when the time comes, saves. She didn't demand respect. She earned silence. Sometimes the quietest voice is the one that knows the deepest truths. Machines may rust, but honor never does. The next morning, her name was quietly added to the carrier's restoration plaque. Just initials. No rank. No title, but the crew began calling her something else. Not ma'am. Not engineer. Just this, the one who listened. If you believe in quiet strength, unrecognized brilliance, and heroes who don't wear uniforms anymore, but never stopped serving, then this story is for you. Tell us where you're watching from. And if someone in your life reminds you of her, share this. Because the world needs more silent heroes. And maybe, just maybe, you are one of them. Subscribe for more stories that honor those who never ask for thanks, but always earn it.